know about these guys. I don't think we can just arrive on campus without an appointment. Don't they still have that COVID sign-in protocol?
Oh, we're grads. Of course they'll let us in.
We're practically royalty.
Good afternoon. You have any questions?
We are here to film some video footage for Threads 2022. We're the hosts.
We don't really need an appointment though. Like, we're the MCs. Like, it's Threads, you know?
Yes, you do.
I told you, let's just film somewhere else.
No. We're getting in.
Can I help you?
Oh, I'm just here to inspect the sewing machines. I can find my way.
Hold up. I'm not aware of an inspection.
Oh, you know what? It must be a different day. I'm so sorry.
You okay, Allison?
Gonna stretch first.
You know, you have such lovely eyes. Has anyone ever told you that before?
Not really.
Oh, there is a loose thread. You know, I'm a fashion graduate. Perhaps I could take a look.
Hey, stop.
All right, we'll call it a draw. Live from GBC, it's Threads 2022.
Stop talking.
Welcome everyone to Threads 2022, our year-end graduate event designed to showcase the talent and success of our graduating class. During our FASHIONWORKS segment running for the next 2 hours, you can expect to enjoy an afternoon of engagement from our George Brown College School of Fashion 2022 graduates and faculty, our celebrated keynote speakers, and then virtually network with our outstanding fashion industry partners who, yes, I am hearing now, are wearing pants. And after a short break to walk your spouse, catch up with your dog, or argue with your favorite show, or some mix of those things, starting at 7 p.m., come join us once again to celebrate the awards portion of our event, which acknowledges the outstanding achievements of our talented and hardworking fashion students and graduates. Now, normally this event would be in person and live, and normally I'd be glammed up in a glitzy gown rather than these sweatpants, but here we are. I'd love to say this is our first ever virtual year-end fashion event, but as we saw this past 2 semesters, we are still online, making this the second annual but hopefully final virtual year-end fashion event. Let me start off by presenting myself, Allison Ashdown, graduate of fashion management and member of the ever lovely Threads 2022 Planning Committee, humbly at your service for today's festivities. But before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the land on which we gather. Takaranto, the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation and other indigenous peoples. For thousands of years, indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land in the spirit of peace and friendship. We express gratitude to have the opportunity to work on Turtle Island, and by doing so give our respect to its first inhabitants. In the spirit of surpassing boundaries, Threads 2022 is titled Transcendence because it gracefully rises above the limits of the virtual world with its celebration of this year's graduating class and current students in the School of Fashion and Jewelry at George Brown College. Over 2 days, our year-end fashion event elevates the achievements of rising talent as they ascend to the next stage of their careers, ready to transcend barriers, societal, environmental, and attitudinal. Having learned from the past, together we will take a leap beyond the expected and into a future filled with unimagined possibility. Now, I would like to welcome our George Brown College School of Fashion Chair, Rosa Fracassa. Rosa?
Thanks, Allison. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for Threads 2022. I extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you, fashion industry partners, faculty, staff, graduates, students, family, and friends. Thank you all for being here with us at Threads 2022. It is a pleasure to be here before you today for yet another Threads event. We are fortunate to be able to host Threads for the second time as a virtual event. Today, we will be honoring and showcasing the hard work and talents of our George Brown College School of Fashion graduates 2022. Like the 2020-2021 year, the journey this past year has not been easy for us. Despite the continued challenges and constant changes with COVID restrictions, we all managed to succeed. Together, in celebrating our graduate success, we also acknowledge the many persistent challenges faced by our industry and the world. Human rights and forced labor, racism, representation and inclusivity, climate change, and the circular economy. We believe our graduates will impact the future of fashion and the world for the better. This afternoon, our FASHIONWORKS networking breakout session gives our fashion industry partners the opportunity to meet, interact, and connect with our graduates as they transition into the fashion industry. During our awards ceremony this evening, we welcome you to join us as we celebrate the achievements of our outstanding students. Thank you all once again for joining us for Threads 2022. Our Student Planning Committee feels honored and a great sense of gratitude by your presence here today. At this time, I would like to express my appreciation and congratulate the team. Professor Winnie Lung, our graphic and web designer, Michael Barrera, and the students of our fashion event planning class for all their hard work and efforts in making today a reality. Thank you. Allison, Zoe, Hannah, Michelle, Gwen, Savannah, Idilla, Kelly, Pamela, Mershad, Camilla, Mengeo, Ty, Rosie, Jiskea, Joy, Minsyon, Navdeep, Sukhpreet, Jion, Khushbu, Somya, Bishu, and Jennifer. To our fashion graduates, I take this opportunity to wish you all the best as you transition from education into industry. May you apply your acquired knowledge, skills, and abilities meaningfully to the fashion industry. From the faculty and staff here at George Brown College, we extend our best wishes to you as you venture out into the world of fashion. May your journey be exciting, rewarding, and significantly productive as you aspire it to be. Our Threads event today is a full schedule. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy our show. And once again, welcome to Threads 2022.
Yeah, I'm going to be saying that in a bit. Oh, we're on? Thank you, Rosa, for your support and best wishes. Now, let's take a look at some of our fellow 2022 fashion graduates.
Hi, my name is Una Elarda. I'm from the Fashion 412 program, which is a postgraduate in international fashion management. So I'm someone who already got a bachelor's degree and I really wanted to further my studies. I think this is a really good course for you if you are someone who has or is interested in the fashion industry, because it's such a vast industry and there's so much different elements to it. So, and it's not just the creative side of things, it's definitely the business side of things as well. All of the back end things, the manufacturing operations, all of that are key things that make, these brands so successful. And learning about that will definitely enrich your life and enrich your career to like a good trajectory. So I got into the fashion industry it felt really natural because I was from a background of artist parents who, the creative process was always part of my life. And originally I was thinking of taking fashion design, but I really wanted to learn business as well. So a course like this is an awesome blend of both creative and business.
Hello, hi, I'm Akshay Boinkumar Gunashekaran and I'm studying International Fashion Management in Georgetown. The expectation that I had in my major was to learn practical knowledge and skill that is required for an industry, especially for a fashion industry. And I must say that Georgetown did meet my expectation by providing wonderful tutors who not only taught us but also made this course very interesting. And something that I also loved studying in George Brown is that we got to work with some brands from the industry where we could practically experience the problems that they're facing and also help them. For me now, George Brown has been the best decision that I've ever taken. It's been a wonderful year with wonderful people and I've really enjoyed my course with George Brown. Thank you.
What do I think about secondhand garments and their future? I think in the future, it could go two ways. One, secondhand garments could become really important because it could be used to, their fibers could be used to make new clothes and recycle them, or we could even sell secondhand garments as vintage clothes, and as cycles repeat themselves, they could come back in fashion and people could still wear them. Or I think secondhand garments could become completely irrelevant because as demand changes and people want newer fashions every month, now exceeding to every 2 weeks or 1 week, I think just one-time wear clothes might also become a trend, where clothes worn once could be made out of paper or any other material that can be discarded right after wearing it, even once. I do personally love secondhand clothes because where I'm from, we have a tradition of giving our clothes to our younger siblings, or like if you're the younger sibling like I am, you would probably receive clothes from your elders. And it's really beautiful because you get passed on these beautiful traditional clothes, and I really hope secondhand garments go as per the first scenario, where they are relevant forever.
Hello everyone, my name is Nina and I'm a second year fashion management student. The reason why I wanted to be a part of the fashion industry and the reason why I continue to work towards being a part of the fashion industry and to work in the industry itself is because I have been fortunate enough to know exactly what I wanted to do from a very young age. For as long as I can remember, since the 6th grade, I have been designing dresses, designing outfits, designing clothing and apparel, and my biggest wish and dream was to be able to see my friends and family and the rest of the world in my designs. So yeah, that's why I want to be a part of the industry, because it touches home with me and it's something I've always been very passionate about, and I strive to be a part of the industry and be a successful piece of it.
Hi, my name is Yutan from GBC Fashion Management. If you ask me why I chose fashion management major, I can say fashion is my life. Every day I check what is happening in the fashion industry, such as what brands have new products, what brands have designed novel designs, and so on. Personally, I also have great passion for buying clothes, because fashion is presented in clothes, shoes, and accessories. So buying what I think is fashion is also a part of my life. The reason why I chose the fashion management major of GBC is to improve my understanding of fashion and reach the most basic knowledge of fashion as much as possible. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I am currently a fashion student, and the question I'm going to be answering is how can we as designers stand out against competition in the fashion industry? And I honestly think that, for me at least, the way I'm intending to stand out is just designing honestly. And by that I mean not necessarily following the trends, or even though it is important to have that kind of information, but just more designing the things that I love and that I would like to see. Because if I'm designing just anything on the hope that it's going to be popular, then I'm not going to be in love with my own designs. And if I'm not in love with my own designs, then how can I expect anybody else to be? The other thing that we should be doing as designers and that will make us stand out, at least I sincerely believe so, is taking from your own life experiences, your backgrounds, your own unique perspective, because no one else in the whole world is going to be exactly you. No one else is going to have your exact same perspective. And in that way, your designs are always going to be at least somewhat unique, as long as you're not trying to copy somebody else. And yeah, I know, like, a shirt is a shirt, a skirt is a skirt. There is certain limitations within it. But as long as you are designing with your own self in mind, first and foremost, then I think that you are going to stand out in this industry. And I don't know, maybe that's a controversial opinion. I actually don't particularly like designing specifically for a trend, and I feel like that really does come out.
Hello everyone, if you do not know me, my name is Shaylin Edwards and I am a current student, soon to be graduate from the Fashion Business Industry program here at George Brown College. I'm currently 22 years old and plan to spend my next year post-graduation here in Toronto, Ontario. When I'm not in class or working on assignments, you can find me working part-time here in Toronto or working on my online portfolio. I love design, photography, styling, really anything creative like sewing or sketching too. I'm really passionate when it comes to art and fashion. I love the individuality of it, but as well how it can bring people together. Over my past years here in Toronto and at George Brown College, I've learned so much about the different industries and how your passion can really be put to work. I've had many great experiences over the past 2 years, but one of my best experiences has to be how much this program has opened my eyes. I've come to really analyze my values and how I and many others can create a positive change within the industry. I'm very passionate about how our industry impacts the earth and how we impact the industry. I believe when possible we should all do our part in creating change. This could be by reusing, recycling old garments, old textiles, even seemingly garbage into fashion. It's a great way to make a difference, as well as shopping secondhand, donating used items, shopping sustainably, keeping in mind conscious consumerism, all factors into creating change. I care a lot about this industry and how it impacts humans and vice versa. Fashion evokes emotion. It's how we voice ourselves without even saying a word, rather physically through garments. I am so thankful for my time spent here at George Brown and the community as students have created while continuing our studies online, as these past 2 years doing online school has definitely not been easy. The people that I surround myself with truly make a difference. Without my peers and a few amazing professors, I might not be here speaking with you all. I am so thankful for those few people.
Hi, I am Kritika Vadipalli. I am an international student in fashion management course at Georgetown College. I work as a design assistant in Canadian women's luxury brand Lumomo. I love fashion, style, and clothing. I was obsessed with it from a very young age. I thought I could make a career out of it and move to Canada to pursue fashion design. In fashion design, I learned how to sketch, construct a garment, make a collection, and getting it ready for the runway. After that, I enrolled in Georgetown College for fashion management. In fashion management, I learned how to get clothes from the runway to the hands of the customer. There are so many interesting opportunities in the fashion industry that aren't just being a designer. I learned about different aspects involved in the fashion industry, right from apparel sourcing, apparel manufacturing, product development to apparel marketing. With all these understandings, experience, I hope to have a successful career with a defined career path. Thank you.
Hi, I am Joy Devnath, studying fashion management at Georgetown College and will be graduating this summer, April 2022. Today I am going to cover how I can help to build a Canadian entrepreneur's brand. So in that case, I can say that first of all, we all know that there are lots of fast fashion brands all over the world, but still now there are lots of Canadian brands still struggling. As a fashion management student, I can see there are lots of potential possibility to help to boost this Canadian brand against the fast fashion. As a fashion management student, I already went through lots of courses like management, sewing, product development, sourcing, accounting, and most importantly social media marketing. So if I compile all this knowledge, it has a great possibility to help me to work for this Canadian brand. Like for example, I can make a strong tagline for the company to attract my target consumer. Then we can launch our product with the celebrities or the brand ambassador, and most importantly, we all can expose these through our social media. As a result, we will reach to the whole of the world at a time. It helped me to boost the company and even the other subsection also. And the other important thing is that we can source different investors to grow our company and to make our more branch to the different region in the Canada and also the different part of the world. That's all from my side. Thanks a lot.
Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Jolo from Fashion Management program, and it was a good choice that I choose fashion management because I learned a lot from the program that I can apply in my current job and into my future job. It was a great experience to explore the world of fashion in many ways. The experience that I loved the most was learning to manage a small business. And I just want to say thank you to all the professors and faculty of fashion industry for helping us from the beginning until the end of the semester.
Zoe James here, fashion management graduate and member of the Threads 2022 Planning Committee. Well, Allison is currently arguing with her director, so let's move on to our next segment of today's show. Congratulations to all our fashion graduates. Thank you for sharing your sentiments, and we do not doubt you will continue to excel in your professional industry practices. GBC fashion students and graduates are a pool of talent. Let's take a look at some of the great work they have done. Your hair looks fine. Get it together, girl. Welcome back. Great work shared. Thank you, GBC grads and students. I really loved all of the creativity. Where would our graduating class be without the inspiration that our esteemed industry partners have provided these past 2 years?
Hello, George Brown School of Fashion. We design because we are passionate. And when you focus your design on sustainability, it is because you are hopeful. So you go out there and be hopeful, and we will change the world together. Congratulations, George Brown School of Design, to the class of 2022.
Congratulations, graduates. What an exciting time of the year. Just wanted to wish you luck as you start your career.
Congratulations, graduates, and all the best for the next step in your journey.
Congratulations, have a nice fashion future.
Congratulations, graduates. Wishing you all the best in your future endeavors. Remember to keep an open mind, challenge yourself, and remember, greatness is out there.
Hi, congratulations, and we look forward to working with you in Canada Goose.
Congratulations to the graduating class of George Brown College, School of Fashion 2022. Graduating is no small feat. Graduating during a pandemic just shows that you are resilient, determined, and adaptable. And those are a few skills that you will need to be successful within the fashion industry. I'm wishing you all the best of success for the future.
Hi, I'm Deborah King, and I wanted to say a huge congratulations to the 2022 graduating class of the George Brown School of Fashion. Attending George Brown's Sustainable Fashion Production postgrad program was one of the most valuable and important decisions I made for my future. I was able to make connections beyond the classroom, extending into my current entrepreneurial journey. As you reflect on your own experience, I encourage you to stay in touch with each other and explore opportunities to collaborate. Leverage the many ways that George Brown enables you to connect with the community, and take advantage of facilities that promote sustainability in the fashion space, like Fashion Exchange. Together, you can all do so much.
Hi, I'm Pauline Petley. I'm one of the regional visual directors at Harry Rosen. I wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate the class of 2022 on this achievement of graduating. I'm sure you're all pretty excited to get out in the workforce and show them what you can do. Being creative, you can take it in many directions and have a lot of fun doing it. I've been doing it for 30 years and I've been enjoying every minute of it. I would like to offer a little bit of advice. That is, when you're out there, don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you're going to learn things. Don't be afraid to try new things. That's where the best ideas come from. Ask questions. Whoever you're working for, they're there to help you succeed. So take that with you. Go out, have fun. Once again, congratulations.
Hi, I'm Franco Rocky, speaking to you from our beautiful studio here at Suzy Le Chateau headquarters in Montreal. Congratulations to all of you. The world is waiting and needs you. Remember that we have 2 headquarters, one in Montreal and one in Toronto. So hit us up. Congratulations once again.
Hi everyone, this is Dan Dwyer from House of Dwyer, and I want to congratulate all of George Brown's 2022 graduates. I wish you the best in your fashion journey. May the path be enlightened and creative. I have never been more proud to be part of the Canadian fashion scene. Well done.
Thank you to all our industry partners for your support and best wishes. Network executives mandated we need to limit Allison's time on the mic today since she didn't get her regular afternoon nap. So it falls on myself to introduce our next segment. Hi, my name is Camila. I'm a fashion management student and a member of the TRANS 2022 Planning Committee. It is with great pleasure that I introduce our first two keynote speakers, Lindsay LaRusso and Salman Araf. First up, we have Lindsay LaRusso. Lindsay is a co-founder of the fashion brand Nudnik, which is specialized in using organic cotton per customer textile waste generated during the manufacturing process to make young children clothing. Today, she will be speaking about the state of the fashion industry and current marketplace conditions. Welcome, Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Lindsay LaRusso, and I'm the CEO at Nudnik. Nudnik is a circular fashion brand disrupting the way we design, produce, and dispose of clothing. I started Nudnik back in 2016 with my twin sister, Alexandra. And a few of you, likely some maybe even in the audience today, have interned with us and seen firsthand how an innovative fashion brand operates in the early days, and even through a global pandemic. I'd like to thank one of our interns, Pamela Hunter, for inviting me to speak today. So when it comes to the present state of fashion and current marketplace conditions, I'm going to talk about not only what I know best, but also what I believe to be the key aspect of fashion now and in the future. I'm going to talk about circular fashion. On the receiving end of this keynote is you, the biggest and brightest minds, working tirelessly to develop your craft and offering for the future of fashion. Coming from a 15-year career in waste management, I truly believe waste is the greatest resource today. At Nudnik, we create genderless kidswear exclusively from pre-consumer textile waste, which is a byproduct of the manufacturing process. It's estimated that 15% of all fabric used for fashion ends up as this form of waste. That's a lot of fabric. Our styles are engineered to utilize these small scraps of fabric that would have otherwise gone to landfill or incineration. For example, our Trailblazer hoodie uses 15 of these small scraps, and our colorways also change based off the scrap we're working with at the time. We are currently developing tech that takes our laborious manual process of converting scrap to designs digital, and we're utilizing AI and machine learning to enforce rules like color pairings to ensure that the output of our designs are always appealing and on brand. This will allow us to reach further scale for an upcycled product line. It's important to talk about the global recycling crisis here because the best products are born through the need to solve problems, and fashion is no exception, considering it's one of the world's biggest global polluters. Traditional recycling infrastructure cannot keep up with current global consumption rates, and also products have become increasingly hard to recycle. This is because when you mix materials together, they actually need to be deconstructed in order to be recycled properly. In terms of fashion, millions of tons of clothing end up in landfill every year because garments are made from a mixture of synthetic and natural fibers. What does this mean for you? Well, I encourage you to use monomaterials, in which all components of the products that you're creating are made from the same material type. So for example, Nudnik only uses natural fibers, no synthetics. This actually means our products are fully compostable at the end of life. Another example is Adidas Future Loop shoe, which is made from the same type of plastic. The shoelaces, the shoe holes, the sole, the exterior, the inserts, everything. The second thing you can do is design for extended wear. Quality is really paramount for product longevity. Designing heritage pieces that can be passed down and around is another example. And genderless, core collections, seasonless products, they're all other verticals. With Nudnik and our Game Changer jumper, for example, you can see that we actually use 2 different buttonholes, and these straps can actually be knotted as well. The legs can also be rolled up, so that when the child is younger, it's a baggier, looser fit, and as they grow, it's more of a fitted look. So lots of wear with only one item. The circular fashion industry is estimated as a $5 trillion economic opportunity, and there is plenty of room for brands and designers doing it well. As new designers, you have an opportunity to design with circularity in mind from the beginning, as opposed to these massive fast fashion conglomerates and heritage brands who cannot change systems without severe economic consequences. Dr. David Suzuki once told us, "In everything you do it through a sustainable lens." And I hope that even if you didn't envision circularity as a core pillar of your product or brand, it's not too late to incorporate it now. And if you have any questions about how you can apply circularity to what you do, please reach out and I'd be happy to advise. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay, for your brilliant insight. Next, allow me to welcome Salma Nadaf. Salma is a GBC alumnus who is an entrepreneur with a sustainable apparel brand, Moose Moon Race. We're happy to have you, Salma.
Hi there, my name is Salma. I am GBC alumni. I graduated from George Brown in 2020 in International Fashion Management program. I also come with 10 years of international experience into apparel retail industry. So after graduating from GBC, I decided to launch my own apparel brand called Moose Moon Race. And this is the brand logo. You can see this is a hoodie of my brand. So Moose Moon Race focuses on the camping and hiking niche market, where we provide the clothing, sustainable clothing and accessories to make the camping and hiking experience full of fun. So here I would like to talk more about the current industry trends and the fashion trends and kind of what's happening with the marketplaces. So as we are aware, we are slowly entering into this normal time after the pandemic era. Most of the popular fashion brands are entering into the e-commerce. Mainly the online spaces are taking over the physical spaces because the physical spaces has been struggling. You must be aware many of the stores were closed in the industry. The online space has become very popular among the startups as well as among the established brands. So talking about the multi-channel retailing, that's something everyone is trying to do this. So same is applicable to my brand also. When I launched my own online store or website called www.moosemoonrace.com, and then slowly I entered into the other e-commerce marketplaces, and that's the case happening with many established apparel brands as well. They are trying to carve more and more online space by following the strategy of multi-channel retailing, where the e-commerce places like Amazon, eBay, Etsy, they are becoming more and more popular. Also, there is a kind of collaboration happening between different online channels. So instead of the rivalry, or it's like going more of the collaboration strategies to get the more space into the online world. And the another new trend coming is the sustainable fashion. I mean, it's something, it was always there, but it is becoming more and more popular these days. I know GBC also offers many sustainable fashion programs. So talking about the practical view of this particular trend is, based on my research, when I was launching my brand, I could find many apparel brands are building upon the eco-friendly products, and some of them are trying to educate customers by promoting the sustainable fashion products. So for example, they are educating the customers and then they are trying to convert those consumers of regular product into the something who would love to buy eco-friendly products. That's one strategy, while other strategy with some of the startups is they are building their brands based on totally eco-friendly practices. So though we have learned many things in GBC about sustainable fashion, but the practical world says there are many other aspects of sustainable fashion. I mean, you might have learned if 10 principles or 20 principles of sustainable fashion in theories, but what's happening in the real is the brands are able to follow some of them, they're not able to follow some of them, but then based on what they're able to follow, they're doing the marketing strategies. So for example, some brands believe on the minimal carbon footprints, that's a part of sustainable fashion. Some brands believe on integrating the eco-friendly raw materials while manufacturing the finished products. That's also another aspect of the sustainable fashion. And some of them are taking direct action, like contributing 1% of their revenue or certain percentage of their revenue for the welfare of the animals, or to clear the plastic and other non-degradable waste from the environment. So there are a lot of different aspects of the sustainable fashion, and it's a very good thing that most of the retailers are taking steps towards this nature-friendly, planet-friendly practices of the business. Then next is about the design trends. That's something I would like to talk about. As I said about the sustainable fashion, for the fashion designers, it has become a kind of inspiration. So more and more of the animals and the flower prints are coming back into the trends. So those animal visuals and the floral or the other plant visuals are kind of creating a decent and rich look, and also it conveys that message of the eco-friendly practices. And talking about in general the fashion trends, so there is of course revival of the Art Deco style, which was originated mainly in France in 1920s, which is also relevant to the roaring 20s, when women were mostly preferring the clothing for freedom, and the comfort was something preferred over the looks and styles. So that something has come back, and in 2022 there is going to be a lot of symmetrical geometrical patterns. That's again the component of the Art Deco style is going to come back. There are certain fonts, and there is also a trend of the optical illusion. That's something where one creates a design and it's viewed from different perspectives and different angles. So for example, a particular word written on the casuals may be looking or readable with a different meaning from one angle, but from another angle it looks something different. So it's like those layers of the semi-transparent colors over each other, making kind of the optical illusion. That's another trend coming back in 2022. And also there is going to be the trend of the geometric, the symmetrical patterns, which would be focusing on a more rich and elegant look by providing just 2 to 3 colors, but with the Greek and Roman kind of motifs. So these are some of the trends coming back in 2022 as per the fashion gurus and some of the industrial articles. So in the end, I would like to suggest to the GBC fashion students, in case if you are struggling to find any strong inspiration for designing, then simply you can just draw the design, whatever comes from your subconscious mind, and organize those layers and see then how it looks. That's something definitely going to be unique, creative, your own innovation, and it doesn't have to be necessarily as per the recent designs or the techniques. So that's a brain dump strategy you can follow while designing your products. Yeah, and in the end I would like to wish all the best to all GBC students.
Thank you so much, Salma, for sharing your insights with us. Your passion for Canadian fashion is contagious. Thank you for your advocacy. While Maria debriefs our next set of keynote speakers, let's check out some more great work produced by our GBC fashion students and graduates.
Wow. Well, who needs a nap when you've got such mesmerizing work to dream about as we just witnessed? Well, apparently, our network executives say that I do. But we are persevering regardless, which is exactly what the people in our next segment taught us these past 2 years. Without our faculty of professors and advisors, we would have been lost on blackboards still trying to figure out how to turn on our cameras. And look at us now. We now know how to, we just choose not to. Thank you to our professors for engaging and inspiring us in our virtual classes, and most of all, putting up with our antics like that of a herd of meandering cats.
Many years ago, I was a brownie, and I was so proud and happy the day to receive my wings so that I could fly away. I hope you feel the same about your graduation, but that you come back to the nest to share your success. Please join Winnie's LinkedIn GBC Fashion Alumni Group to keep in touch. We wish you all the best.
Hello, GBC Fashion graduates of 2022. Congratulations on achieving this celebratory milestone, and it is cause for celebration. After years of hard work, persistence, and competing responsibilities, you've done it. You have earned your fashion diploma. May Threads 2022 serve as a rite of passage to the fashion industry. I do not doubt you will achieve your dreams of success in the world of fashion and contribute to changing our fashion industry for the better. Congratulations again to the class of 2022.
Hello, graduates. What a year. I want to congratulate you on your endurance, dedication, and agility. This has not been an easy year, but you did it. You got through it. So congratulations. I want to wish you lots of success in your future careers. The fashion industry is so fun and so exciting. So go out there, enjoy, create, be adventurous, and make us proud. And please keep in touch. We love hearing what you guys get up to. And when you're in need of a fashion intern of your own, you know who to contact.
Congrats, graduates of 2022. You survived a tough program. You'll thrive in the world of fashion. Remember, you took a course in it? I'm switching to Latin. There's a phrase I love, nunc cognosco ex parte. It means, now I know in part. So keep learning and teach others. Fashion is all about communication. It speaks for us, so know yourself, love yourself, and success will follow. Celebrate yourself, celebrate fashion. All the very best.
This year's graduating class showed that they really could transcend barriers as they faced 2 years of online learning. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. Well done.
Hello, George Brown College graduate. This is Winnie Kwan, faculty at Fashion Department. Congratulations. With all your hard work, you have reached an important milestone in your life. I wish you all the very best. Now sit back, relax, and celebrate.
Hi, this is Catalina Crawford from the Field Education Office. I came here to wish you a giant congratulations. You deserve it. Graduating from college is not easy, and you did it in a pandemic. You should be extremely proud of yourself. You have a bright future ahead, and you're tougher than you think. Congratulations.
Camila, back with you. Our next two keynote speakers are experts in job search and interview skills, which are essential to enter into the workforce post-grad. It's with great pleasure that I introduce our next two keynote speakers, Vanessa Mendana and Sanjita Dixit. First up, we have Vanessa Mendana, a GBC alumnus and past member of Threads team. She knows firsthand the challenges we faced working in a committee of over 25 peers and professors to bring Threads 2022 virtually to you. But I'm sure that Vanessa can also say it was a lot of fun with a lot of beluga in it. And now, gainfully employed as the assistant brand manager at the Indica Group, she obviously knows how to get a job in our fashion industry. Vanessa will share her advice on her job search and interview skills. Welcome, Vanessa.
Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa, and this pre-recorded video is, I don't know how many times I tried to do it. Speaking to a camera is not my thing. There's something weird about it. I feel like I have to be perfect, so I'm going to get that out of my head because I can make mistakes on a video. If not, I'm going to be here all night recording. So hello everyone, my name is Vanessa Mandana. I chose to do a pre-recorded video just in case I couldn't make it to the live event. But let's just fix this a little bit. Looks like it's gonna fall. But I chose to do pre-recorded, at least that way, in case I couldn't make the live event. I had something to put out and showcase for everyone. My topic is, I've got notes here in case you see me looking down, job searching and interview skills. But before we get into that, I will introduce myself a little bit. My name is Vanessa Mandana. I graduated last year from the George Brown Fashion Management program, which I loved very much. I rave about it to everybody. It was a great program. I also was on the planning committee last year for Thread's very first virtual event. I can't believe it's virtual again this year, but you know what? That's okay. We get to be in the comfort of our own home, in our yammies. It's a free event. Why wouldn't you attend, basically? So I hope next year can be live and we can all attend. I am very fortunate that I get to be here today speaking because I had a great time attending last year. To be speaking it again a year later, well, not again, to be speaking in it a year later truly is a great honor. And I hope I can get out some great facts, and I hope hopefully it sits with everyone and resonates well. I'm probably going to break this video up into chunks. Hopefully it's not too choppy, but I'm doing that because I know I'm going to need a break from talking. And I know this is to be 10 minutes, so I'm going to shoot for 10 minutes. Okay, a little bit about myself after graduation. Right after graduation, I worked throughout school, I worked at my internship placement. After my internship was done, I was very fortunate enough that they rehired me on as part-time, and then, I don't know if I stayed there full-time. I think most of the time, I think it was just part-time. It was a little boutique here in Oakville, Ontario. I am living in Oakville, and it was just downtown. It was super cute. It was a small boutique, so, you know, you got to learn different departments within it, buying, social media, customer service, sales, etc. You get to learn all of that in a small space. So it really is great whether you're in school or fresh out of school. It's a good route to go. Shortly after I graduated, I applied for a job in footwear, which isn't something at the time that I thought I would be interested in. It was a job posting, and we'll get into job searching and interview skills, but the posting was there. Everything that they listed was everything that we had learned in school. So I thought it would be perfect to, you know, exercise everything that we learned and just apply it to the actual industry and the field. So it was great. I've been there. It's been a year now. It'll be a year in May. And I've been there this whole time. I love it. I'll tell you a little bit about the company. The company is called the Indica Group. They are a footwear distributor here in Canada. And what we do is we distribute brands to stores across Canada. A couple of our brands, just to name a few of the popular ones, are Nine West, handbags and footwear, Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, Mark Fisher Limited, Earth. Those are just a few brands of a list of very many, but those are most popular ones that maybe some of you will recognize. So the company is great. I am enjoying it. Again, I know this is something that Ingrid, if you're watching, she has said this multiple times before, you're probably going to end up somewhere that you didn't think you would. And that's exactly what happened to me. I ended up in footwear, which was never even a path that I had thought of. It was there. I thought this was perfect. So I applied. So that's a little bit about myself and what I've been doing recently. I am actually setting a goal to be more involved in George Brown, whatever that could be, even keeping up with the emails, interacting on LinkedIn. I want to be involved because the program really was great and the professors were so great, so I do want to stay involved. Okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to take a water break, and then we will get into job searching and interview skills. Okay. Job searching, my main advice, and if there's anything that you take from this presentation, let it be that when you're job searching, have an open mind. Don't log into whatever whatever job searching network you go on to. Don't go on there and say, I want to be a buyer, that's what I'm going to find. I'm going to find a job in buying, in clothing, this company. Because if you do that, you're going to fall flat on your face and you're going to feel very discouraged and you're going to think there's nothing out there. I'm not going to be able to find anything. I'm going to be stuck with maybe whatever job you have now, or you're going to feel like you're going to be stuck with no job. And that's because you went in so specific. I ended up in footwear, and a year later I'm loving it. And it wasn't something that I was looking to apply for. I was looking for something else. But I ended up there in it and I'm loving it. I think a lot of professors can speak to that too. I think it was Ingrid in the internship class. She brought up that topic all the time, and I remember thinking like, no, like I know what I want. Yeah, I'll keep an open mind, but I think I know what I want. She proved me wrong. I ended up somewhere, again, I'm repeating myself, I ended up somewhere I didn't think I would because I kept an open mind. My two favorite platforms for job searching, I know one of these is not everyone's favorite, but it's Indeed. And I know it's so basic, and a lot of the professors say, don't just use Indeed, don't rely on it. But honestly, for me, it's just so easy to scroll through. I know what I'm looking for. I've been using Indeed since I was in high school applying for jobs. So I'm comfortable with it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I am comfortable. It's easy for me to search through jobs and filter and see what I want. You can upload your resume on there. So I really like that platform. There is very many others. There is also LinkedIn, which I do enjoy because LinkedIn, their algorithm gives you job postings that are relative to your experience or maybe a prior job you had or your current job. And like right now I'm getting a lot of job postings for my current position in other companies. So LinkedIn is great. Their algorithm is great in that sense. But I'm not big on this just scrolling through LinkedIn and searching for jobs. For me, that's Indeed. I love it. This is not an ad. This is just what works for me. So I do really like that. Also, I think some other tips in terms of job searching, I think having an open mind really is just the main one. Know what you want. If you want remote, filter it for remote. If you want in person, filter it for that. But don't stop searching. Do not stop searching. I was on there every day, every night. I find for me personally, the best time to job search is at night. There's no distractions. I'm going to bed. What else could I be doing? So it's just easy for me to scroll through there and apply. Apply to as many as you can. Even if you think you're underqualified for, apply. Or you're overqualified for it, apply anyways. If the position sounds right, apply. I think another one too is doing a little bit of research on the company. I feel like I'm blabbing on and I need to stop at some point. Another thing that I like is I like to search up the company. That's usually the first thing that I'll do. Maybe I'll search them up on LinkedIn and see some reviews. But yes, I definitely will do some research on the company as well as the position. So I think that wraps it up for job searching. I could talk all day, but I have a 10-minute slot. So we're going to move into interview skills. Okay. Interview skills. I don't have much written down for this just because, interviews they're so bittersweet in the job application process. You've applied for something, you've heard back, you've got an interview, it's woo, like you're celebrating, you're excited. And then for some, you got to get over that bump of the interview. For some, you got it, and for some, you don't. So it's very nerve-wracking for the people that don't, because, maybe you're going up against someone who's great at interviews and maybe they're not so great for the position, but they can talk their way into it, but you're qualified for it and you got the experience for it. But I think my main advice, and this is a line that I don't know if I read it somewhere or if someone told me it, and I don't even know how to repeat it correctly because it was so long ago and I've said it so many times, I think I've lost bits and pieces of it. But basically, it's the person that's interviewing you is on your side. They want you to get the job just as much as you want to get the job. And I heard that and I've taken it with me to every interview, and it really it calms you down, reminding yourself that, yeah, the person interviewing you is on your side. They do want you to get this job. For all you know, they've interviewed 20 people before you and they just want you to be great. They want you to get this job. So you got to take that into every interview. And I think it also comes with, just be yourself. Your skills, your experience. You hopefully applied for something that, and that's another thing too, apply for something that you feel confident in. It makes the interview process 10 times easier. I find prior to where I am now, applying for some jobs I didn't feel so confident in, I think the interview process was a lot harder because, you're doubting yourself. But if you're applying for a job that you are confident in, you can do it, the interview process is super easy because that person's on your side. They want you to get the job and you want to get the job. So yeah, don't let that ruin your job application process. Don't think that, oh my God, I want to apply to this, but I'm so scared for the interview. I'm not too good at it. Don't let that discourage you. Just you apply for that job and do the interview. Tell yourself, the person interviewing me is on my side. They want me to do great. They want me to get this job just as much as I want to get it. It's I don't know. It's a very simple line. It's a very simple saying, but it's something that's worked for me for years. For very many job interviews and meetings and presentations, it's just knowing that the person on the other side is on your side as well, right? So it's so simple, but it works. To kind of give myself as an example how I applied for my job and I got through the interview process, because I am very young, like I'm sure a lot of you graduating, and hopefully, you know, you can relate to myself a lot or quite a bit. And so basically my job posting was, I was scrolling online and it came up. I read the description of it. I thought this was everything that I've learned in school. I know I've got these skills and I just need to maybe get a little bit more experience using them in the real world. And I was prepared for that, and I was going to make that clear in my interview. And I applied to it. I had to do an Excel test, a personality test, and it was a lot of testing, and I almost gave up. And I told myself, no, like, this is close to home for you. This is something you're interested in. Not so much the footwear, but what the job was asking for, what the position was asking for, I was very interested in. So that's what kind of balanced it out. You know, it wasn't something I thought I would do, but it's something I know I can do. So I confidently applied for it. Once I got the interview, again, I am by no means perfect at interviewing, like, not at all. I think they're terrifying, and I wish you could just apply for a job and start the next day, but that's not the case. But I went into the interview, again, knowing that the person interviewing me is on my side. They want me to get the job as much as I want to get the job. And I went into it and I was myself. I was confident that I could do the position and do it well because I read the posting. I knew what they were asking for. There was no surprises. And I made it clear to them that I had all of these skills and I was ready to apply them in real world and learn actually doing it for a real company. And, they took me on. Of course, it was a chance because I was younger and I've been there for a year later and I love it. So I hope that's a good example. I applied for something that I wasn't so sure of, did it, loving it, year later, it's great. So hopefully that helps some of you guys graduating and applying to jobs. It's really not scary. The interview process is, I'll be honest, it's a little scary, but you just gotta get out of your head. You totally gotta get out of your head for those 10, 15, 20-minute interview. It's so short. It's just a short amount of time in our lives, and that's, you can do it. So I hope everything that I said, some of you guys can take with you. Job searching, have an open mind, interview skills. The person interviewing you is on your side. They absolutely are. It's scary to graduate, but it's so exciting. It's so bittersweet. And I'm so honored that I got to be here today and speak with some of you guys. I hope some of you guys connect with me. Okay. I got a phone call and I lost my train of thought, but I was closing off is what I remember doing. I am so grateful that I got to speak here today, and hopefully I was able to share some great advice to all of you here, and it's something that you graduates can take with you as you start applying within the industry. It is so exciting and it really is fun. You've been studying it for 2-3 years, however long it's been, maybe a year, and it's so exciting to work in the industry. So don't let the job application process and the interview process discourage you, because you just got to get over it. It's such a tiny part of your life. It's like the interviews maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes and you're done and you've got your dream job. So don't sweat it, don't overthink it. It's really just quick. It's gonna be done. And yes, I'm so honored again that I got to be here. Hopefully I was able to attend the live and I'm in the comments. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's chat. If you have any further questions, or maybe you want to talk one-on-one with me, and maybe you just need me to calm you down before an interview, so happy to do that. And I would absolutely love it, because I would have loved that at the time of applying and the time of interview. So if I can offer that to some of you, then I'm so happy to. So go ahead and connect with me on LinkedIn. I would definitely accept your invitation. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your event. I want to send my best wishes to all the graduates. You're going to do great in the industry. Bye.
Thank you, Vanessa, for sharing your expertise with us. For our final keynote address, allow me to welcome Sangeeta Dixit. As a GBC Career Advisor, Certified Psychometric Analyst, Facilitator, and Emotional Intelligence Coach, Sangeeta is a passionate professional with over 10 years of experience in career coaching, career advising, and learning and development. Throughout her professional life, Sangeeta has had the opportunity to work with diverse sets of people. Being an entrepreneur has given her vast opportunities to showcase her leadership skills, work efficiently with teams, and establish a strong work ethics. Welcome, Sangeeta.
Hi, I'm Sangeeta Dikshit. I work as a career advisor, student success at Casaloma. Today, I would like to share some key pointers about job search and interview skills. Job search can sometimes be a long, frustrating process. However, understanding and utilizing different strategies can help you break into the Canadian labor market. First, let us understand the process of job search. As a job seeker, our initial step is to hop on to different job portals and start applying. And I'm sure some of you may have experienced a no response from employers, often leaving you wondering, what are you missing out? Many students are not aware that about 80 to 82% of the Canadian labor market is hidden. What does that mean? It means that there's a huge chunk of job opportunity that is not even posted on any job portal. And whatever you see on these job portals sometimes can be those residual opportunities or when employers post them just for legal reasons. So how do you tap into this labor market? The key here is to network. Optimizing your online presence, especially on LinkedIn, and strategically networking with professionals can be your key to success. Employers often prefer candidates who have some sort of an internal reference. It is just easier for them to trust their colleagues' contacts than an unknown applicant. It is crucial that you start building your personal brand, make those amazing, genuine connections, reach out to people and network. The second key factor here is to ensure that you customize your resume for every job position that you apply. Most job applicants keep one or two standard formats and mass apply. And in doing so, you kind of give away that there's no strategy involved. And for someone who's a seasoned recruiter, it's very easy to identify this behavior. Also know that most employers today use a software called Applicant Tracking System, or ATS. What this does is it filters through your resumes and matches for keywords. And if your resume does not have the keywords from the job description, it chucks it out. As hard as it seems, that's the reality of today's recruitment process. And in order for your resume to be selected for the interview process, it needs to have a minimum of 80% of keyword match. That is 80%. And that is why it is vital that you customize your resume for every job position that you apply. Let's now move to interview skills. In an interview, your success in getting the job it lies in these three points. The first, your message. Think of these questions. Ask yourself these. What am I passionate about? What is that one thing I want them to know about me? What story do I want to share? And in order for your message to be more convincing, the best technique is to give real-time examples. Talk about your own experiences, what happened, and what was a skill that you learned. And in order to do that, there's this very simple yet efficient technique called the STAR technique. So what does STAR stand for? Situation, task, action, and result. When you give your examples, your real-time examples, in the STAR methodology, it makes it kind of foolproof because you're attaching all the other needed facts and details in that answer. And you're also building the trust with the employer that you're telling them the truth. The second factor now to consider is your setting. Ask yourself these questions. How do I create my personal brand? Whether it is your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile, your interview, or even as an employee, you're constantly creating a brand for yourself. There is an impression that you generate. Are you aware of what is that conveying? The second question is, consider this. You're in a virtual interview. You're called for a virtual interview. What are the factors that you need to take care of? How does my background look? Does it require a virtual background? Is my video clear? Is my voice clear? How's the lighting? Do I require a faster Wi-Fi connection? Is my phone and all other apps that might be running in the background on silent? And finally, the third question here is, am I presentable? Regardless of whether you are in a virtual interview or an in-person interview, it is extremely important that you not only look confident, you also feel confident. Take care of your dressing. Ensure that you feel comfortable in what you wear. And the third part is your delivery. Ask yourself these questions. How is my rate of speech? How is my voice modulation? And how is my body language? Sometimes when we are nervous or excited, our rate of speech can just get too fast. Maybe our voice modulation isn't there at all. Think of this situation. Let us say that you're talking about something that you're very passionate about. Is your voice, is your facial gesture conveying what you're saying? So your words need to match your actions. Your nonverbal communication is the largest chunk of a communication process. People go by how you say, people go by your facial gestures and your body language and your voice more than what words you use. So take care of what is it that you're conveying through your body language. All in all, your career success depends on these 3 P's I would like to put it in. Plan, practice, and perform. If you feel that you still need support in your job search journey, could be your resume building or career exploration, please feel free to get in touch with the career services team. You need to log on to GB Careers and book an appointment with one of us. Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity to address you all. I wish you all the best and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Sangeeta, for sharing your expertise with us. Welcome back, everyone. It's Zoe again. Last up, we showcase our final reel of stellar work produced by our GBC fashion students and graduates. What do you mean the reel isn't feeding correctly, Allison? Try turning it around?
It's not working. Just distract them for a minute.
So, mental health, am I right?
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Pamela, fashion design and techniques student and member of Threads 2022 Planning Committee. Much like our sanity down this past stretch in this virtual learning experience, this production has been unraveling at its seams. It's a good thing we know how to sew now. And that really encompasses our perseverance in this past 2 years. Despite the challenges and unaccustomed landscape, we have shown our resilience. Before we launch into our breakout sessions and our final segment of FASHIONWORKS, we would like to take a moment and thank you all for joining us and dealing with our antics. Here's to Threads 2022 Planning Committee. Oh, and coffee. We can't forget about coffee's role in all this.
Good afternoon, everyone. We, the graduates of Fashion Management, Business, and Design, and as members of the Planning Committee, would like to extend our gratitude to you all for joining us today for Threads 2022.
Planning this virtual event was a first-time experience for us, and what's a remarkable one it was indeed. The knowledge and exposure we gained throughout the entire process is one we will carry with us as we step out into the industry and hope to someday be able to improve on and apply to other real-life events. We would not have been able to do these without the help and guidance of our professor and event manager Winnie Leung and our web and graphic designer Michael Barrera. Thank you both.
We would also like to thank our faculty and Chair Rasa Fracasa for this amazing opportunity to be recognized and honored at Threads 2022. A very special thanks to our esteemed industry partners, supportive staff, and fantastic fellow students, friends, and family. Without the assistance, guidance, and support from you all, we would not been here today. Thank you all. Fashion in the industry inspires us, and it is the path that we have chosen for our future careers. During these difficult times, the fashion industry is faced with many challenges. Nevertheless, we are still very excited to enter the industry and experience fashion for what it truly is: dynamic, inspiring, and innovative.
The pandemic has changed people's views on fashion, humanity, and holistic perspectives. It is the resiliency of our industry, the ability to innovate that keeps us inspired. We can't wait to contribute to a better world for fashion.
Once again, we thank each one of you for joining us today and making Threads 2022 a success.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now it is time for the final element of FASHIONWORKS, our networking breakout sessions, and we are honored to have 3 industry professionals joining us. In breakout room number 1, we have keynote speaker Lucy Akpong, who will be sharing her story and expertise on being an engineer in training and vendor analyst at the Bay. In breakout room number 2, we have keynote speaker Stephanie Harold, who will be sharing her story and expertise on being a senior operations manager at Hermes. And in breakout room number 3, we have keynote speaker Janelle McCoy, who will be sharing her story and expertise on being a city line fashion expert, wardrobe stylist, and learning differences advocate. Please see the breakout icon at the bottom of your screen and select a room for a short talk and networking. Thank you for joining us today at Threads 2022 Transcendence. Enjoy your FASHIONWORKS networking event and breakout session.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see you all. Wow, what an exciting time in your lives, graduating. I honestly, it's just such a turning point in your lives, and I'm sure you worked so hard over these past couple of years and through COVID. So I really can't imagine what you're going through, but I can at the same time, and I just am sending you every positive vibe, every good essence I can your way, because you're entering a really cool job market actually, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen for you. So I've actually prepared a slideshow. So let me just get that ready for us, and I'll share my screen here. All right, Zoom meeting. Here we go. All right.
Stephanie, while you're getting set up, if you'd like, I can just go over some rules for asking questions and everything, if you'd like, if that sounds good.
That's great.
Right. So thanks so much for joining us, Stephanie. We look forward to everything you're about to share with your story and expertise on being a senior operations manager. So for the guests, please feel free to turn on your cameras, but mute your mics once Stephanie starts speaking. We'll meet and mingle using the chat or mic function after Stephanie shares with us. And then without further ado, I'd be happy for you to get started whenever you're ready, Stephanie.
Yeah, I'm having some funniness with my Zoom. It's not allowing me to share my screen, which is really strange because I do this every day. So I think I'm gonna just experiment with one thing. Maybe I'm gonna leave and then join back, okay? And if it doesn't work, I'm just gonna share it because I have the slides in front of me and I can tell you exactly what I mean anyways. So it won't make too much of a difference, okay? So I'm just gonna exit and come back. Sounds good?
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Zoe, I'm gonna message Winnie because I think she needs to be host to share.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll be back.
Okay.
All right, so the host has disabled screen sharing. Is there any way I could get on the screen sharing again?
Oh, hello, Stephanie. My apologies. I thought I made you a co-host.
You did. I just rejoined because of
Oh, that's why. Yeah,
okay.
Zoom is very finicky. My apologies. That would mean you going back into the main room so I can make you a co-host, and then you have to come back into your room. So would you like to do that?
I'll do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Follow you. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm leaving the room. I'll be right back. No, I won't be back. Leave breakout room.
All right. Yeah, so it's still not letting me share my screen. So you know what? We're just gonna roll with it. And I will actually just share with you. You know what? I can totally do that. I will just share with you the link to my presentation on Google so you can absolutely see the love and care that I put into this presentation for you all. Okay, here we go. There's my presentation. So, hi, my name is Stephanie Harold. I'm so happy to be here today. Essentially, I am a Parsons graduate. I started in Toronto in just independent fashion publishing. And even before that, I was a teacher. So I kind of wore these two hats. I was teaching, I was in fashion, and then I wanted to specialize in my career. So I actually worked at the ROM for a bit in museums to get a taste of that. And I decided to even move on forward to Parsons to further specialize and kind of understand everything that was in the industry. So I did their master's program in fashion studies. And then from there, I decided luxury was the route I wanted to take. So I worked at Comme des Garçons as part of my master's degree and got a credit there, and then went on to work at Saks Canada when we opened in 2015. So I was part of their opening group, and I stayed there for about 6 years, and I became their assistant general manager of operations. So some of my duties there was to like oversee $120 million P&L. I had about 15 direct reports, and under that, probably around 80 people. It was just a really big store experience, and it was super fun, and I loved it every day. And then I gave Hermes a shot. So I was their senior operations manager, enjoyed that as well. And then I decided to go back to teaching. And that's partially what brings me back here today, is to just reconnect with students. So hi, here I am to talk to you about fashion and graduating. So I really wanted to give you some pragmatic advice to help you enter the workforce in a successful way. So I kind of have 3 goals today. So that's to understand key job profiles. And if you're following along with me, I'm on slide 3. So to understand key job profiles, to help you navigate the hiring and career journey, and hopefully to help your dreams come true. Because at the end of the day, that's what I want for everyone who enters this industry. So essentially, my table of contents is comprised of how this all starts. So how do you start in this industry, what your interests are, the application process, and then luxury retail day to day. What is it actually like to work in luxury retail? Because I know we all have these fantastic dreams, but then, you know, when you're there, it's something a little bit different. I will say it's fantastic, but it also has its opportunities too. So to give you an idea, I wanted to discuss that. If you move on to slide 5, you can see I made a little activity for you all. I made a QR code. So essentially, at the end of my presentation, what I'd love to leave you with is essentially an idea of what kind of pathway you'd want to go into if you were to go into luxury retail, how you'd go about applying for a role in luxury retail, and then 1 pro and 1 con of what it's actually like to work in luxury retail. So that's kind of our takeaways. So maybe your dreams look like a whole bunch of beautiful designer handbags in your closet. Maybe that's what you think about. And on the weekend, you are shopping, you are looking at websites that have like, you know, maybe luxury resale sites, or maybe, you know, just beautiful home pages, or maybe you're looking at blogs and Instagrams, and you just know that fashion is what you love. And you've been working really, really hard here at George Brown for the last few years. So you've applied yourself, and you know you're ready to enter the industry, but you're not sure how to do that. So how do you enter this luxury fashion retail industry? It's kind of a mystery, but there are definitely ways in, and that's what I want to share with you. So if you're not sure what to do, I wanted to first review a few career paths that you can take into luxury retail. And I'll say, if you're not sure what to do, the best thing to do is to just try something. So apply those skills and dip your toes in. You never know if you're really going to like something until you're actually doing it. So don't be scared, make your best guess and go for it. So I have 5 kind of pathways to start out with for your luxury fashion journey. So I will speak to you briefly: merchandising and visual, administration, sales and customer service, marketing, and operations. So these are kind of the 5 things that we look at in luxury retail as kind of entry points. I'll also say these are predominantly store-based roles. In luxury retail, from my experience, 90% of the people I met started in stores. So the president of Saks Fifth Avenue, so I think is now the CEO, Mark Metrick, he started in stores. All my regionals started in stores. And the vast majority of the people I know who work in corporate started in stores. So just know, yes, absolutely enter into retail from a corporate perspective, but most often it's just from coming from stores. So that's where I'm going to start. And you may be the anomaly, and that's great. But if you are going to start in a store, these are some of the ways that you can do that. So I'm on slide 14 right now. So essentially, visual is a great starting point. What do they do? Essentially, they work with mannequins and windows displays. What do they look for when they're hiring visuals? Any sort of educational backgrounds. What you have here is great. Internships, if you have an art background, and it can be a very creatively focused role, but also know, and some of you might work in retail right now, that some stores have planograms. So for instance, somewhere like a Saks Fifth Avenue or a Comme des Garçons, they might be creating their looks in store and their visuals in store. However, like when I first started at American Eagle, when I was 19 years old, we had planograms that came from corporate and we had to stick with those planograms. So if you really are a creative person and you want to do visual, kind of understand what kind of store you're working in and how much visual latitude you'll have. And then, of course, there's merchandising. So what do they do? Oftentimes it's processing and placing stock from the door to the floor is what we say. So from the truck to the actual placement on the floor. And it could include product placement more creatively as well. Totally depends on the place. So you'll check that yourself when you're applying. And what do we look for? Schooling, internships, various retail roles. I've probably interviewed in my career about 500 people, maybe 600. And I've hired for visual roles, I've hired for merchandising roles, I've hired for management roles. And I will say, like, this is kind of what it comes down to. We look at the school usually of the person. We look at prior roles they had. Oh, I'm getting a little ding ding. Do I have a question? Or just someone entering? It's okay. But yeah, for merchandising, this is kind of what we look at. School, internships, and places you've worked before. Then there's administration. So many of these stores have their own kind of administrative sections. They might have something like audit and control that essentially would count all the cash at the end of the day, look through receipts, organize things, or they might have a general office, which is kind of like a general administrative office. They can also support HR and support leadership as well. So they might be making memos, they might also be counting cash, they might be dealing with gift cards, but there's usually some sort of administrative support if that's what interests you. I'm on slide 16, just in case. So there's usually, of course, sales. In every store, there's sales. And we always had a joke at Saks Fifth Avenue. Our regional vice president would say this. He'd say, if you want to make money, don't be a manager, be a sales associate. So a lot of these luxury retail stores, you have associates who are making over 6 figures. So never underestimate the power of a sales associate. It's truly incredible. And I will say, I know sales associates who have gone from sales with the right educational background into buying. So it's nothing to forget about. Sales is a really great entree into the industry. And what they do, basically they're clienteling with clients, they're texting clients, they're reaching out through email, etc. And then of course they're selling according to a target. Maybe they'll have a base and then a commission, etc. But I'm telling you, luxury sales associates do extremely well. And you might also have customer service. So customer service roles would be non-selling roles that still support the customer experience. So I know Nordstrom has a number of these roles. So these could be people who help you with returns. These could be people who help you navigate the store. But if you don't like selling, that's also a good way to get in. Marketing is also another entree into the industry. So in-store marketing might focus more on promotional activities like putting up signage. Maybe it would be about organizing small events for certain niche customers, especially in luxury. At Saks, we'd have special events for certain groups of people. We even have things like a master class. So for instance, La Mer would want to do a master class and offer like 18 people a beautiful dinner and an experience with the product, etc. So they might help with that. From a corporate perspective, they often will give edicts, etc., and drill them down to the stores. So sometimes you would receive from corporate, but oftentimes the store will work on their own events as well. So store marketing can be really interesting to start in at a store, to start in. Operations is great. So operations is where I really spent a lot of my time, and I really enjoyed operations. So operational roles include merchandising often. They also include things like shipping and receiving. which can be linked to fulfillment. We all know how important e-com is and how that mixture between brick and mortar stores and online selling are so like related and linked, especially with COVID. So sometimes they'll actually fulfill e-com orders through a store. So that could be part of what you do, or you could be like a separate e-com person who takes from store stock. That's all part of operations. As well, stock, what do? They unpack merchandise, they steam, etc. And I'd say for all these roles, the things we're looking for when we're hiring, do they have things like warehouse experience? Have they worked in a store before? Can they lift 50 pounds is often something in a job description for someone in stock or in shipping and receiving. So this is kind of all part of that. And then inventory roles. I'll say at Hermes, we had someone who's devoted to just counting the inventory because it was so important. I know Banana Republic also had a similar associate. So there's people who have roles that are essentially just making sure that you're not missing product and looking at reports every day for discrepancies. That's also kind of a job that exists out there. So now that you know about some of these jobs, how do you actually go about getting the job? This is often the most kind of nerve-wracking part of it, but it's the most important part because we all want you to get hired and get wonderful jobs so you can move on with your lives. So different ways to get hired. Here we go. So there's the general application. So this is, this company is posting this job offering online and you apply. This is absolutely a way to do it. I will say at Saks Fifth Avenue, once I was hiring for an office manager, we had 350 people applied. And I was the person who was screening the resumes at this time. So I can tell you, I stopped at 150 just because I couldn't get through all the resumes and the amount of time I had. So just know that if someone doesn't call you back from an online application, it's not necessarily your fault. Don't be discouraged. It's just there is usually a number of people who apply to these roles. So what I'd say is apply early and apply often and don't be discouraged. There's also, of course, the in-person application. So that means you can go in person to a store, introduce yourself, and give your resume. This is an option too, but just know that people are often busy in their day. So if you don't have a lot of time to speak to someone, again, don't take it personally. Make the best impression you can. Shake their hand, give your resume. They'll probably also tell you to apply online, but this is okay too, because having someone meet you is a very positive thing. Even if it's 5 seconds, again, don't be discouraged. This is also a good strategy to use. Referrals are also very important. So if you know anyone in the industry, absolutely network with them. As I think the career counselor was saying in the session prior, 82% of the jobs on the job market are not even posted. So this is a great way to just connect with people you know, see what jobs are coming up. And again, if you're applying for a job, see if they can help you and give you a referral, because that is super, super powerful for getting hired. And then of course there's career fairs and store openings. So career fairs are great. If George Brown is offering you any of those, absolutely attend them. And also look out for new store openings. This is a time when people are hiring a lot of people. So it's a great opportunity. That's actually how I got hired at Saks. I was graduating and they actually didn't even post my role online. It didn't even exist. But I met a recruiter and she was so nice. And she just said to me, I like you. And I said, oh my God, thank God you like me. And then it went from there. So look for those store openings because that can be a great way to just meet a recruiter and be considered for other roles. And then there's also retail recruiters and lots of fashion recruiters out there. So to name a few, Fish Recruit is often used. A lot of luxury retailers go through Fish Recruit and they have jobs on their website. There's also J. Ross retail recruiters, very popular. And usually for the more executive roles, they might use someone like Farber Search. So these are all great recruiters that you can Google, you can link in with these people, and you can see if they have any opportunities for you. They also often post jobs on their websites. So things to keep in mind when you are applying. Generally, they want full-time availability for most roles. So try to keep an open schedule if you're filling this out in an online form. Always give the earliest time that you can start. They might be looking to hire someone ASAP. So make sure you know, or they know that you're available and ready to start with them. Salary range, be open for sure. you really don't know what the salary range is until you get into those conversations. And oftentimes it happens later in the process. So keep an open mind when it comes to salary. Of course, everyone has their needs financially, but don't assume that just because a role has this title, it has a certain salary. Just basically keep an open mind. And when you get to that step in the process, it will come out. Sometimes a recruiter or an HR person or a hiring manager will give you a range during the process. And then when you get your offer, you'll get an actual number. And when I say give you a range, you might say, hey, how much does this position compensate? And they might say, oh, it's about this. Sometimes they won't even tell you that. So just be ready for the offer to really know how much you get paid. And yeah, when you actually get to the interview, what do? So I'll say some of these luxury fashion houses will actually make you sign an NDA while you're interviewing. That's how exclusive they are. So if you don't know what an NDA is, it's a non-disclosure agreement. So know that this is a very formal process often. Be 10 minutes early. Don't be over 10 minutes early, and never, of course, be late. The reason why I say 10 minutes early is partially when I was interviewing in New York, I interviewed with Ralph Lauren. I had met the president of Ralph Lauren. She was lovely. And she said, come interview. And they specifically said, don't come more than 10 minutes early. And this makes sense to me because when you're a hiring manager, you're having a super busy day, most likely, especially if you're understaffed and hiring someone. So when you come 20 or 30 minutes early, you might see maybe more of the office than they want you to. Like know that you're entering basically someone's workspace. So don't come more than 10 minutes early. And of course, never be late. Dress more formally than you think. Oftentimes in luxury retail, the atmosphere can be very formal. So you can always ask what the dress code is prior to the interview. If you're applying to work in a store, visit the store and see what everyone else is wearing and kind of take the cue from that. Always learn the name of the person interviewing you, look them right in the eye, thank them for the interview. This goes a long way. If you're curious what the actual job entails, ask what a typical day or week looks like. This is a really great way to kind of find out, like, what time does this job start? What time does it end? What are you actually doing? So this is a great question. And if you like, share in the chat, what are some questions you might have asked in an interview in past? What's been effective for you? But I'll say really great one is, what does a typical day look like? If you don't know what to ask, that's a great one to give you a real idea about this job. And always send a thank you note afterwards. I remember I was hiring for a general office associate once, and I think I had like 300 applications again, and I had 5 interviews in person, and I only got 1 thank you note. So I gave that person the job, and it was a good decision. She was great, but just know thank you notes can really make a big difference. So after you interview, there's often a waiting game. So I'll say, like at Saks, my interview process was from July to November. Like it actually took that long for me to get an offer, accept the offer and start. And same with Hermes. I think it started in March and I was actually started Hermes in July. So know that these processes can take months. Don't feel bad if it's been a couple weeks since you've heard back. Of course, you're always welcome to check in, but just know that these processes often involve several interviews and exist over a large amount of time. There's often actually background checks as well. So criminal background checks are par for the course. And of course, they often check your references as well. So now that you got the job, let's say you got this job, which I'm hoping you will, and I know you will, what kind of happens next? What is it like to work in luxury retail? Well, one of my friends always said to me, Stephanie, luxury retail or working in luxury retail is like running for president every day. And I never knew what that really meant. I'm like, what do you mean running for president every day? What that means is that in luxury retail and in retail generally, there tends to be a high turnover rate. So I think the last statistic I looked at was 16.5% is kind of the average turn rate in retail. So that means every year, about 16% of the employees turn over and change jobs. So that means if you stick in luxury retail and are able to stay with the company, you can really do well, because you can imagine if there's that much turn and you're still there and you know the industry and you know the organization, that's going to really benefit you. So know that you always have to give your best every day. Any day, things can change, and there's always more opportunities opening up. So these are great things. And also I had in my deck, you could see on slide 27, I have a statistic. So Deloitte did a 2020 study or 2022 study on luxury retail and the luxury retail landscape. And they actually quote 74% of businesses expect shortages in labor and frontline retail. So know that you're entering an industry in a time of great need. They're hiring in this industry like crazy. So this is really wonderful for you to start out and is some good news. So kind of to get towards our conclusion, just to review, what are some of the benefits of working luxury retail? Why would you want to do this? Well, it's a great introduction to the industry, as I mentioned, and there's options often to move laterally or to grow within a company, especially if it's a bigger company. Oftentimes you're not working a standard Monday to Friday. And for some people, that's really advantageous to not have to work 5 days in a row. So maybe you'll work a Monday, Tuesday, have a Wednesday off, etc. It's an active and social job. So when you're working in a store, you're not staring at a screen all day for 8 hours. If you like to walk around, if you like to be with people, and that's where your strengths are, working in a store really highlights that. So that can be really great, especially now since so many jobs are so sedentary. And of course, you get a product discount at most of these places. And if you love fashion, that can be really exciting for sure. I've gotten some great things over my time in luxury retail. So some other realities of working in luxury retail, you often are working holidays. So just know that that often happens. It's part of the game. It's what it is. It is ever changing. Like I mentioned, there's high turnover rates. Always new and dynamic things happening that you just kind of go with and get on board with, which is also exciting because you're never bored. It's often in person. So if you want a remote job, it might not be so remote. And it can be less flexible. So you're there when the client needs you to be there. So understand that you would have to adhere to store hours, etc. So to conclude, the big picture in luxury retail. So careers in luxury are rewarding, dynamic, and cater to diverse skill sets. Look for contacts, reach out on LinkedIn, and be persistent when trying to get hired. And lastly, opportunities are frequent. So do your homework and figure out what's right for you. And don't worry if you don't see something at the beginning, because chances are it will open up, as it always does with this 16.5% turnover rate. So that's everything I had to say. I hope that was helpful. Do you guys have any questions?
Hi, Stephanie. Yeah, I'd love to ask you, first of all, I love your outfit. I think it looks great. So, just before when you were mentioning about like resumes and whatnot, what's your experience like with dealing with cover letters? So as a potential applicant, it can get quite tedious in
totally
kind of the application to write a new cover letter for every single employer, and sometimes even want you to have your resume to be catered to that employer, and it's like, So I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Okay, so this is my personal approach, and I won't say it's everyone's because I don't want to take away, but when I was hiring, I did not look at cover letters. I found them to be very tedious and long. And when you're looking at like literally, like sometimes I'd get 60 applicants a day. There was no way like I could read everyone's cover letter. So I really focused on the resume. I'd say if you have the time and it's a job that you're super passionate about, by all means, maybe you'll get that very like traditional recruiter who really likes a cover letter. So then if you have the time, do it. But if you don't, I feel like there's other people like me out there who you just don't care as much. You don't have the time. I'd say like maybe what's more powerful is like reaching out on LinkedIn and introducing introducing yourself, or getting a referral and having one of your friends say, hey, have you met Allison? I think is your lovely name.
Hi, Allison.
Yeah, like that would be much more powerful than a cover letter, to be honest. So I'd say like networking is the new cover letter. And sometimes your cover letter won't be read, but if you want to be like super cautious in case you like end up with a recruiter and it's like a job you really love, then by all means do a cover letter.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Anyone else? What are you thinking?
I have a couple questions for you. So I loved what you said about the thank you note. Like, I think that's so important. I wanted to know your opinion on if this is something that you would send electronically or if it's something that you would mail to the person.
Yeah, myself personally, I've done both. Like I remember before I was in retail, I was writing about fashion a lot. I remember I was pitching to Flair and I gave them a thank you note card and I was able, like I got the pitch, which was great. So that was effective for me. When I've been on the other side of it, like I think if you're going to do something electronic, I'd say do it right away. Like when I was at Hermes, we were doing like group interviews with 6 people. So you were meeting a lot of people at once. And I remember it was like 5 minutes after the interview and there were 6 interviewers as well. We were all kind of debriefing afterwards. And like right at like the start of our meeting, we're like, oh, we just got a thank you note from so-and-so. And like that was really powerful because we just finished with them and then we got the thank you note right away. So I'd say if you're doing an electronic one, make it like super prompt after the meeting. And yeah, if you have the opportunity to do a handwritten one, you can. I just feel like what's more important is like making it, admit to means, enter the waiting room. Okay, I'm gonna advise this or let them in. I'd say what's more powerful is just getting it done. Like there's a saying that I heard, it was like some Harvard graduation address, and it was never let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So like in all the drama of trying to like write a card, mail it, make sure it goes to the right address, like sometimes it's better just to do electronic, but if you do electronic, do it right away, make your spelling perfect and whatever else. So again, no like right or wrong, but I'd say like electronic can be totally fine because this was Hermes. Like that's a pretty traditional conservative place. And we were all totally 100% fine with an email and impressed with it within 5 minutes of receiving it. So like, yeah, I'd say electronic is fine. If you want to do hard copy, do it. Electronic is fine.
Perfect. And then my other question I had, just out of curiosity, I've worked for a company before that searches resumes for keywords. Is there anything particular that jumps out like to you when you're looking at a resume?
Yeah. Myself personally, what I used was I would look at the job, like Saks was part of the base. When I was doing like a bunch of hiring, that was when I was working at Saks. And we didn't actually use that keyword search, which is really interesting, which I think we were a little bit behind because I think most people do use the keyword search. But when I was just looking at resumes, I would look at the actual job I was trying to fill and the competencies, and then I would check like, have they done this before? So for instance, when I was hiring for our office manager, it was kind of like a blended HR admin role. So like I'd look at their resume and be like, do they have any HR? Do they have any admin? So I would just really look at the job description. If you end up networking with anyone, you can ask them like, what are they really looking for? And just make sure like you say it so explicitly what exactly what they want is what you have, and highlight it like several times in your resume. Because again, like you might have 30 seconds with a resume. Like, can they see that you've done HR and admin within 30 seconds?
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. How about anyone else? How are you guys doing? Are you feeling stressed? I hope not. I hope you're okay out there.
I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm thinking that there are lots of students come from the international and the art from the Canada, and for them it's very struggling for them to establish their own career in Canada because they don't know anything and how the industry works. And right now we all graduating together, and there are lots of students passing out at the same time. So how can I make us something different from the other self, or how can I make a good position in the industry? And the another thing is that all the person always suggests that start from the base. So actually we have some our experience from our back home country.
Yeah.
In that case, sometimes it's not possible for us to start from the sales associate or kind of at the basic level.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, what should we do, or how to choose the career?
Yeah. So what precisely is your question? Do you want to know like how to package your experience from a different country in your resume here?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll give you an example. At Hermes, we had just hired someone and he had been working in Dubai. He was Ethiopian and German. And he had been working in Dubai at like Christian Louboutin and like another like fashion retailer. So I think what he did that like made it really clear. Well, first of all, he worked at brands that we knew, so that made it a little bit easier. But I think he just like made the title like something similar to what we'd find here. So I think he wrote like sales manager, like even if you're like, because different countries call things different things, so I'd say like try to like figure out what the role you did in other countries is kind of referred to in Canada. And that doesn't, I'm not even talking about different languages, but maybe it's called like floor manager or something else in that country, but here we called something slightly different. So I'd say try to package it using like titles that are more typical here so people kind of understand how it translates. I'd say keep it simple. I'd also say like, I know I was looking for diversity when I was hiring. I was looking for people who like didn't necessarily just do the exact same thing as everyone else. So know that like it actually can be a strength as well, because employers don't want just the same candidate over and over again. I just say try to make the experiences as understandable to them as possible so they can tell like, is this actually relevant to the job we're hiring for? I think that's like the point, is like just making it really digestible. So like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we're doing here, only they did it in like XYZ country.
And one more thing that
yeah,
we always do the same thing, a different category in different part in our home country. So most of the job they always source for the 3 to 5 years experience kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we are the fresher ones. So how can we, if you don't give us the opportunity, how can we make ourselves? How can we prove ourselves in the company? In that case, what should we do?
So I'd say this is where honestly, like starting, yes, absolutely, you can start from like the most junior role for sure, but I think they said in another session too, just apply anyways, because honestly no one is sitting there with like a little microscope being, oh, is that 5 years? Like no one's got time to do that. We don't got time for it. It's just like, oh, they've done it for a year or two, great. Like that's literally how far it goes most of the time. So just apply anyways, and absolutely, like the best thing you can do as a student is just get some names on your resume. Like even when I was applying to Saks, like Comme des Garçons, I did that as a master's credit. But the fact that I had Comme des Garçons, they're like, oh, you came from Comme des Garçons. I'm like, yeah, sure. It was a credit for school. And yeah, it was important, but that wasn't like 5 years experience. That was, a year, but it still got me so much further. So just literally get something, even if it's the most junior thing in the world. I have done this. I've worked in retail. I have worked in an office. That's fine, because they're going to hire junior roles too.
Got it. Thanks a lot.
Just get your feet wet. Just jump in.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I do have to get going. Unfortunately, I have to pick up my son from daycare. And I had like a 5 to 5:30 slotted in for this. It's all good. It runs late. You're also welcome to link in with me. I'm on LinkedIn, Stephanie Harold. Please link in. Love to answer any questions you have. I love students. I'm also a teacher. I care about learning a lot. I care about people's growth and success. So anytime you want, just send me a message. But yeah, any other questions?
Thank you for your presentation, Stephanie. And it was so nice. I love it because I was working at Kate Spade also, and everything you mentioned, wow, it's exactly. So my question for you is, how did your earlier career choices lead you to where you are now?
Good question. So like, honestly, it's so funny because this is an encore presentation. Like I did this session at a lunch and learn for George Brown students. And we talked about this a bit. So it just starts by getting in. So how did my earlier career influence my later career? Literally, I think my first job in retail was American Eagle, and I only got that job because I was an ice cream scooper. Like this is when I'm like 16. Like everything builds from something. So I just say start with something, try it, see if you like it, because that will help you determine the next step. But at least you have something on your resume, and then you can kind of craft it and go to where you want to go. But like basically what I did in my early 20s was I tried everything in fashion. I just knew I loved fashion, but I didn't know if I wanted to work at a museum, if I wanted to work in an art gallery, if I wanted to work in retail, if I wanted to be in marketing, if I wanted to be a writer. So I literally did everything. I worked at the ROM, I produced a fashion show at another art gallery, I wrote for Flair, I wrote for this independent fashion journal for like 5 years. I worked in retail. Like I just tried everything. And then I did my master's, and that's where I decided to focus in on luxury retail. And then from there on, I just like found out what I like to do, which was essentially operations and stores. And then I just focused on that. So I feel like early career stuff, try everything, just get the experience, and then follow what you like deeper and deeper. Because basically, as soon as you get some sort of name on your resume, it helps you. Like I only got to work at the ROM because I worked at Warren Fashion Journal and they knew what Warren Fashion Journal was. And I only wrote for Flair because I worked at Warren Fashion Journal, and that was just an internship. But just having that name there, it brought me so far. So just get anything you can to start you off, even if it seems small, because people know about the industry in Toronto. It's so small. Okay, I have to go pick up my child from daycare. I'm sorry, guys. I was booked from 5 to 5:30.
Thank you so much. I'll continue speaking to everyone else and say some closing remarks. But Stephanie, thank you once again, especially for extending your time too. I know 5:30 was the cutoff time. So
it's okay. I have a little guy. But yeah, my deck is in the presentation. Oh, good. You have my LinkedIn. So you can absolutely look at my deck and you can see everything I had to share. But I just wished really the best for you guys. It's such an honor to speak to you, and I'm here for anything, anytime. So please stay well.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Bye, guys. Bye.
For everyone else, I just want to say thank you for joining us for FashionWorks and Transcendence. Threads 2022 has been another huge success thanks to you. Amidst the challenges and oftentimes chaos posed by the pandemic, we've repeated the success of our long-standing year-end fashion event, now in virtual format for the second straight year. We are grateful for your participation and hope it was insightful, but more importantly, entertaining. Thank you all for being a part of the rite of passage to the fashion industry. As noted earlier, the awards show is coming up at 7 o'clock, so we encourage you to all take a mental break, stretch, and get some food in the meantime. You don't want to miss the chaotic conclusion of day one of Transcendence. After all, we finally got Allison down for her nap. However, if you cannot attend, I suppose we can still be friends or whatever. But if that's the case, we anxiously await your feedback on our delivery and your overall experience of Threads 2022 Transcendence. Please let us know your thoughts on the event by completing a short survey you will receive via email. And also please attend our exciting fashion show portion of Threads 2022, held tomorrow afternoon from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. to witness all of the exciting garments and collections from our fashion students and graduates. In all seriousness, though, we sincerely hope you enjoyed Transcendence, FashionWorks, and look forward to seeing you again in the future. And thank you all once again for joining us from your homes, and please enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Take care.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm trying to share your presentation, so if you can give me a minute while you can start presenting yourself, introducing to all of our participants here.
Okay, not a problem. So what should I do? How should I do this? Because this is my first time actually doing something like this.
That's totally fine. You can start introducing yourself.
Okay.
So first of all, we want to welcome you. We're so happy to have you here and really thankful to have you here this day. I will look forward to you to share all your story, your expertise on being of the City Line fashion expert, wardrobe stylist, and the learning differences advocate. So guys, please feel free to turn off your cameras, but mute your mics, and we will meet here mingle using the chat or mic functions after Daniel share with us, okay? So thank you so much, Daniel, to be with us today.
Okay. So do I start or how do I do this?
Yeah, you can definitely start.
Okay, perfect. So hello, everybody. My name is Danielle McCoy. I am, oh geez, well, number one, I'm at work. I actually just finished work around 4 o'clock. So instead of going home, I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just go into one of these rooms here and do this talk with all of you. First of all, congratulations to each and every one of you for being a part of this program and being a part of George Brown College. It is an amazing college. I'm not just saying that. I'm not one of those people where it's going to be like all the sugar coating and going to be telling you, oh yeah, school is fun and so on and so on. It definitely is not. And I've definitely had my challenges, which I will talk about. But the one thing that I will say, George Brown College has definitely helped me out tremendously in my fashion career when a lot of other schools did not. So little background about me. I am a City Line fashion expert. I got the job when I'd say about 2 years ago during the heat of the pandemic, which was quite interesting. Last year was like my first time actually being in the studio. But when I first started, I was doing a lot of my segments remotely from my bedroom. So that was quite challenging. But so I do that. I'm also a costume buyer in the film and television industry. So it's pretty much another term for being a stylist. So I'm part of the union IOTC 873 that deals with big motion pictures, TV shows, movies that happen in Toronto and that are showcased around the world. So any movie you can think of, I've possibly helped out on it. Last year, I wrapped up an Amazon TV show called The Boys, which is a huge show on Amazon, huge following. I was a costume buyer on that show. And near the end of the year, I worked on Ginny and Georgia for Netflix for about a month. Wow. Right now, I work for the shopping channel, which is now called Today's Shopping Choice. So I am their stylist for the host and also events that happen on TV. So instead of working in film, which is taped and so on, I'm working on live TV. So the worlds are very different. I thought it would be very similar, but definitely different. And so I do that. And I'm also a learning differences advocate or a learning disabilities advocate. The reason for that field is in 2006 or 7, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. And one of the reasons why I talk about George Brown College so much and that school being so amazing is because George Brown, there was a guidance counselor by the name of Stephanie Burke, who was my learning strategist. And she diagnosed me with dyslexia. And yeah, so now I go out into schools and universities. I speak in groups, whether it be fashion students or any students of that nature, and talk about my life having dyslexia and how I was able to overcome certain challenges. Do I keep going?
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Definitely you can continue sharing with us.
Okay. You said you were going to show something. You're not going to show it anymore. Are you okay?
Oh no. Is that I know that you share with us some content that you want us to share with the audience, but right now we don't have any issues with that. So I don't know if you can definitely continue telling us like.
Yeah, no worries, not a problem. Okay, so little backstory. Growing up, school was very difficult for me. I did not know how to tie my shoelaces until I was maybe about 15, 16 years old. I also did not know left and right until my teenage years. I always used to put my shoes on backwards. So growing up, I always thought my shoes were on right, even though they felt super uncomfortable, but I was still walking around like everything is fine. And I have a younger sister who's about 2.5, 3 years younger than me. And my mom always knew that she noticed that there is a huge difference in terms of learning styles. In elementary school, me and my sister would come with homework. My sister would be able to pick it up right away. With me, it was definitely challenging. I pretty much passed elementary school with, I'd say, D's and E's, barely passed. I then got into high school and skipped class 32 times in grade 9, just because school wasn't a thing for me and I just didn't really care. Not to mention, I knew that my learning style, I just had issues with learning and nobody really wanted to help me. And when I got into grade 11, I went to a guidance counselor and told her my issues with learning. And she flat out told me that there was no hope for me and that I would never get into college and I would never get into university. And if I was interested in getting into college, there is a course called General Arts and Science. And that is where I would find myself. So imagine being in grade 11 with all of your friends and they're like passing with flying colors. And then there's you who's just like, okay, what's going on here? So long story short, I barely passed high school. I think my teachers just wanted to have me out. They said, you know what, she's just a nice girl. We don't really want to hold her back. Just have her pass. So after I graduated with a D, I took grade 13. That was like OAC at the time. They don't have that anymore, but at that time they did. And took OAC for maybe about 3 months, decided to work in at a call center just to get some extra cash and whatever. And around this time, this is when I knew that fashion was a way for me to express myself physically when I couldn't do so verbally. If you would have asked me how many years ago when I was, say, 21 or even 20 to talk to all of you like how I'm doing now, I would have literally came out of this room and just said, you know what? Yeah, this is not for me, and be out of it. Because I wasn't that talkative person. I hated to talk in front of people because I knew what I wanted to say, but sometimes my words got really jumbled and I didn't have a word for it. I didn't know that there was something going on. But fashion was my way for expression. To put it in its perspective, after I graduated high school, like I said, I was working for about a year and took my guidance counselor's advice in high school and took a course called General Arts and Science at Seneca College. I failed that. I also took international business. I took a course called Fashion Business Industry, I believe. And I took visual merchandising. In total, I failed about 4 to 5 times at Seneca. I also was on OSAP. So while I'm failing, I'm on OSAP. And when I fail, OSAP's not giving me no more money. So I have to write them a letter in order to get more money so I can take course. So overall, it's just like this give and take thing because I wanted to stay in school. And I felt that there was something going on, but again, I just didn't know. So after about 4 to 5 years of failing, I took a break and really focused on my styling career. While I was at Seneca, I met a friend of mine who loved fashion just as much as I did. And her and I decided to become stylist partners, where we would style ourselves, take photos. And that's the time when Facebook was really huge. It just started, and there was like a huge buzz. And we would post our photos on Facebook, and that's how we created a momentum and so on. And people would ask us to style music videos, all of that stuff for pretty much little to nothing. But it was our way to express ourselves. During this time, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give school one last shot. And this was in 2005 or 6 at the time. I was 23, and I decided to apply to George Brown College. Just like, I'm not applying to Seneca. I'm not really feeling Centennial. So let me just go to George Brown. Let me just see.
Yes.
Yeah, why not? Let's just go to George Brown College, because it's just there. It's the first thing I saw. I liked their program. I'm like, okay, let's try it out. So took fashion management at George Brown, and got in because I applied as a mature student because my grades were horrible. So it's like, I'm like, there's no way this college is going to take me. So I just got to apply as a mature student. So got in the fashion management program. And that same week, I walked into the guidance counselor's office and asked to speak to a learning strategist or a guidance counselor. And they paired me with this amazing woman by the name of Stephanie Burke. And Stephanie, I get a little emotional when I talk about this because Stephanie pretty much changed my life. I walked into her office, and she knew that I was like scared, and I literally was just talking gibberish, and like just a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, well, I do this, and I really want to do this, and I love fashion, and this is going on, and so on and so on. And she's writing everything down, and so on and so on. And she's asking me questions, and I'm like, I don't know. I just love fashion, and I just want to do good in school, and so on. And she asked me if I was ever tested for a learning disability, and I told her no. And she's just like, you know what? Judging on everything that you're telling me, you actually may have a learning disability. And I looked at her like she was crazy, because there is no way that every school that I went to, whether it be elementary, high school, and college, that no one saw anything.
Yeah, anything.
And yeah, it just didn't make any sense to me. I thought she was BSing. Like, I was just like, oh yeah, you just want to have me come out of your office. Like, there's no way. But she said, no, you'd be surprised on how many people have a learning disability just like you and are extremely successful in doing what they do. So long story short, I'd say about 3 or 4 weeks later, during my study break, a psychologist came in and tested me. And at that time, I was on OSAP. And I don't know how it is now, but at that time, if you're on OSAP, you can actually get tested for free. And got tested. And 2 weeks later, I found out that I have dyslexia. So I'm not sure if all of you guys know what dyslexia is, but dyslexia is pretty much a neurological disorder. That's the Kijiji, or not Kijiji, what's the word? Wikipedia. Thank you. That's the Wikipedia definition. So it's neurological disorder where it affects one side of the brain than the other. So they say that dyslexic people use, I believe, the left or the right. I cannot remember, but it's more of the creative side. So when it comes on to anything creative, anything audio, music, colors, I excel tremendously. But when it comes on to math, science, things that like critical thinking, I need a little bit more help because my brain can't really dissect it. Also, I have sometimes issues with reading. So whenever I read, my words get jumbled. So for the longest while, I thought I needed glasses because whenever I'm reading and I get down to the middle of the page, everything becomes a blur. And I didn't know what was happening. But when I was diagnosed, Stephanie, my learning strategist, gave me tools to excel and help me understand how my brain works. So like writing in colored pens, highlighting my words, listening to instrumentals whenever I study, because I'm very audio and I love music, and I would make a song in my head for whatever I would have to study, because in the fashion program, although there is lots of glitz and glam in fashion, there's also a lot of reading. And like, there was like, yes, there was like the quality assurance. I don't know if that's still a course.
Yeah,
It is. Yes, okay, you get it. So quality assurance, there's logistics that you have to take, which is a lot of reading, textiles, all of these stuff. And I'm like, when I got into the course for the program, I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. I just want to style people. I just wanted to do all of this stuff. I'm like, why do I need to learn all of this other stuff? But it actually is extremely beneficial, very beneficial.
Yes.
And while getting all those tools to help with my memory, it was also great as well because I was able to express to my teachers like Winnie, or even Ingrid, exactly what I was going through. Because one thing that I didn't want to happen, like what I did in Seneca, is just walk around and like not tell anybody what's happening. I was really scared. And even though I asked for help at Seneca, I think I just didn't ask for more help, or I don't know the situation, what happened over there. But at George Brown, I felt like I really wanted to do more and really push myself. And not to mention, I was getting a lot older and I didn't want to do no more school. Like I just wanted it to be finished. And I wanted to say, yes, I have a college diploma. So long story short, I know I keep saying that, but I graduated George Brown with A's and B's. And also a few of the teachers actually nominated me for valedictorian because of how well I was doing, and also just being out there. And while I was at George Brown, I was also working at the guidance counselor's office because they helped me out so much. And I also wanted to really give back to them and the other students. So I graduated. The year I graduated, I actually got an internship in New York.
Amazing.
So so while my last day in George Brown, I think was April last. It was like the last week of April, and flew out to New York. I was interning at BET Television Network, so I was styling a TV show called 106 in Park at the time. And I remember I flew back in June to graduate. Flew back to graduate, and then flew right back the day after to do my to finish up my internship. So I was in New York for about a year, came back, and that's where things got a little tricky.
Okay.
I'm not even going to lie to you. It was a very hard time because the one thing I always heard about being in these fashion programs is that a lot of students, including myself, we believe as soon as we come out of college or university, we feel that we're going to get a job right away. Like as soon as we get out, we're like, yep, $40,000, $50,000, we're going to make it. That's it. Like as soon somebody's going to pick us up and put us in a job. And that is totally not the case. To be honest, the real school happens when you come out of school. And that is what I realized. The fashion program is the fashion industry is an amazing industry, but there is a lot of trial and error. And you really start to figure out exactly who you are and what it is that you want to do. They also say that even in the fashion programs, you have so many students by first semester. And then as soon as, say, the second semester starts rolling in, that's when those students start to go into other programs because they realize that this may not be the program that they thought, because it's a lot of hard work. And there's a saying where they say, when the strongest and toughest survive, that's our industry. It's you take a lot. You take a lot, but at the end of the day, the reward is amazing. It is amazing because I've been able to stick it out despite certain adversities, being dyslexic, number one, also being a woman of color, number two, because I have that as another thing as well, and even just being a woman at that. Like there's like 3 strikes right there. So I've constantly had to really push myself and prove to my industry peers and companies that I am worth it. After I graduated, George Brown, like I said, I got my internship. I came back and was working at 9 West for about 3 or 4 years, selling shoes right at Scarborough Town Center. And then from there was working as a sales associate for Mendocino for about a year. And I remember a woman coming in to Mendocino, and she was fabulous, like amazing hair, outfit, everything. And she was just like, oh, you helped me out so much picking out these outfits. Have you ever thought about being in the film and television world? And I told her I had no idea that this world even existed. And she was just like, yeah, I'm a costume designer for TV and movies. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. And she was just like, yeah, I actually have a position, but you have to leave your company that you work for today. So I went home and I talked to my mom. And my mom was just like, if this is what you want to do, this is what you want to do. And I quit. I quit retail right there. Oh. And that was my opportunity to work in film. And I worked with her for about 3 months. After that 3 months, I became a permittee in my union. And as a permittee, you are like at the bottom of the list. So you'll get work here and there, but it won't be as consistent. So it's either you stick with it and do something on the side, or you just forget about it. So what I did is I stuck with it. And while I was doing some film and TV stuff on the side, I got into the world of visual merchandising, which is like styling, but instead of styling people, you style mannequins. And that's when I started to learn the world of menswear in terms of how to tie a tie, how to put a suit together, how a man is supposed to look in a suit. I got the opportunity to work as a visual display artist at Harry Rosen with no experience. I had no experience whatsoever with menswear. I lied and told them I did. And then when I dressed a mannequin, they thought I was crazy. And that's when they realized that I had no experience. But the reason why they hired me, and they hired me on my birthday, funny enough, the reason why they hired me is because they said that I had a lot of spunk and really wanted to learn. From there, I was a visual supervisor at Holt Renfrew Men. I was styling mannequins for the Bloor Street location. It was a small concept store. And then when Saks Fifth Avenue came about, I became their visual display artist for the menswear floor for them. So I was there for about a year and a half. In 2017, I had an opportunity to move to Kuwait and was also styling for a company called Masura. And they found me on LinkedIn, funny enough. They found me on LinkedIn and was there for a few months helping them come up with concepts for their stores and so on. So I got to travel to the Middle East and came back, worked in film and stayed in film for a little bit. And then the pandemic hit. And that's when Cityline came about. And that's like with Cityline, I never thought about being on TV, never cared to do it. I was totally fine with being behind the scenes. But a few people have spoken to Tracy Moore about me, and Tracy called me in. I had an interview in March of 2020, and a week or two later got the job. And my first Cityline segment was in May of 2020 or June, I believe. And yeah, I've been on there once a month, sometimes twice a month ever since, while still working in film. In December of last year, I decided to take a little bit of a break from film. And I wanted something with a little bit more, I'd say something more corporate. And also something with more recognition, with a smaller team. And that's where I am now, which is I work for Rogers for today's Shopping Choice, which is formerly known as the Shopping Channel. So my job is basically making sure that the hosts are dressed appropriately. Also, they have special shows where they'll have certain guests that need a stylist. So I would come up with clothing, and I would also use the Shopping Channel clothes to create wardrobes for these fashion shows and so on. The whole idea is to get customers to buy the garments and to show the customers how these garments can be styled. So I've been here for about 3 months, and it's been great ever since. But as you can see, my the fashion world has been there's a lot of ups and downs, and I'll tell you guys a little secret. I am 38, and now the fashion world is starting to make sense to me now. Like, it's now that I'm starting to feel comfortable in my career. At first, I really did not know what the hell I was doing. I just knew that I loved fashion, and I stuck to my guns, and I knew that something was going to happen and I was going to be good in this fashion world. I just didn't know when, but with perseverance and determination, I think that's what really helped me in my career. If I never had that, and if I never had the perseverance and determination, I probably would have given up on fashion a long time ago. But I feel that I'm a very spiritual person, so I believe God put this in me for a reason. Like when my parents talk to me, they say, Janelle, fashion is you. So I believe I was destined for it. And yeah, so that's my story.
Well, that's really amazing to hear. Thank you so much for sharing all your trajectory. It's really amazing how you explore different fields of the fashion industry, how you explore merchandising, explore now styling. So thank you so much for sharing all your experience with us. Like, now that we're going to graduate and we're going into the fashion industry, it's really helpful having all these information. So for all of our guests, now we're a little bit over time, is 5:44. So if Jalene have time to stay on the chat, they're more like welcome to, feel free to continue networking with us, as well as all our guests. If you want to stay a couple of minutes more. And for those that need to leave now, I would like to say some closing remarks. So thank you so much, Jalene. And thanks to all for joining us to the FashionWorks portion of Transcendence. Threads 2022 has been another huge success, and thank you. And amidst the challenges and oftentimes chaos posed by the pandemic, we have repeated the success of our long-standing year and the fashion event, now in virtual format for the second straight year. So we're grateful for your participation and hope it was insightful, but more importantly, entertaining. So thank you so much for being part of this amazing experience, and you're most than welcome to stay, the one that I want to stay. And if you need to leave now, thank you so much for being present this day in our event, end of the year fashion show.
Thank you.
If anyone have any question for Janelle, and if you want to stay, you're most than welcome to open your microphone, or you can type it on the chat.
Yeah, I have a question for Janelle.
Yes.
So I was just wondering, like, how would you deal with, like, during your journey, like, with your mental health, if you don't mind me answering?
How did I deal with my mental health?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it would have obviously affected you in a way that no one could have understood, right?
Yes. So, I'll be very honest with you. It was quite challenging. When I was living in New York, that's where my mental health definitely did come into play. It was a challenging time because just before I left to move to New York, I was diagnosed with the learning difference. And then I wasn't really prepared for the fast-paced environment of New York City. So while I was there, I definitely did fall into a state of depression. It was a very challenging time for me. I isolated myself quite a bit, to the point where the woman that I was staying with when I first moved there, and we had a great relationship. She was like a mom to me. And while I was dealing with my mental health, maybe about 2 months into it, I just didn't really want to talk to her. And she noticed that, and she kicked me out. So there was for about 3 or 4 weeks, I was actually homeless. And I was living on people's couches and so on, and just trying to figure out my next move. But I knew that I didn't want to move back to Toronto yet. I just wanted to really stick it out. But one thing that really helped me with my mental health was a whole lot of prayer, a whole lot of prayer, and just trying to remain positive. And yeah, I really tried to remain positive, because the industry will definitely will have you think that you're not doing things right. I find even with Instagram, you're constantly looking at other people and how far they're going in their careers, and you're wondering why am I still stuck? But
it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's extremely overwhelming. I sometimes have to turn off my Instagram and not even look at it, because I'm like, this is so distracting. When I was in school, we didn't really have Instagram like that. Like, it was just like Facebook and stuff. It wasn't like social media wasn't really a huge thing like that. Now it's a lot. It's a lot. You're constantly competing with other people. But I will tell you this, when you start to get older, like, I'm not too sure how old you are, but when you start to get older, you start caring a lot less about what other people think, and you start to search for your own happiness. And whatever that may be, whatever that is, once you find it, everything else is like it would be oblivious to you. Don't even worry about what other people think. I know it's easier said than done. I've been there. I get it. I understand. Even me being 38 now, I'm sometimes like, oh, why are they over there and I'm here, and so on and so on. But I get DMs from people all the time, like in tears, asking me how to get into the fashion industry. And they're in their 40s, like older than me, trying to figure it out. So just know you're not alone in this, and whatever it is that you're feeling and so on, it will pass. It's just a phase. Just focus on your path and where you're trying to go.
Thank you. Thank you. Your story was really inspiring, and I guess we really needed to hear that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
So, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So, just like you, I'm in a zone. Like, I know I love fashion, but I don't know where should I go. Like, should it be designing? Should it be like retailing, or should it be styling? But like styling have always been on top. So, what advice would you give to enter the styling industry in fashion?
I'm sorry, can you say that part again? What advice I would give to what? I'm sorry,
Like,
love?
how can I enter the styling industry? Like, how can I be a stylist?
Okay. So I get asked this question a whole lot. And the number one thing I will say, and it sounds very cliche, and I know many other people will tell you this, but it is honestly the best advice, is networking. It is networking. Networking is the best thing. Going on LinkedIn, I think a young lady was speaking about that before, about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my best friend. And the number one reason why I say that is because with LinkedIn, you could put, say, let's just say manager at H&M, and instantly you will see a list of all the managers at H&M, and you can message them. Now, some of them may have a subscription where you have to pay like I think it's like a monthly thing for like $96 and so on. But when you message these people, you have direct access to them instead of just going to, or just instead of like emailing them or trying to find them in a store or wherever. Going on LinkedIn is the best. Also Instagram. Like a lot of these stylists have their bios, they'll have stylist at the top. And yes, you'll have some people that will not even look at your message. I'll be very honest with you. Because they'll get a million messages a day, or they're extremely busy and so on. But I promise you that there is going to be that one that will be like, you know what? Yes, you can assist me. Because stylists are always looking for help. They don't want to do it by themselves. they don't mind. So they wouldn't mind having somebody help carry the bags or just be that second eye for them. And before you even do all of that, make sure you know about the styling industry as well, like doing your research, watching videos, taking courses. I mean, these things are great, and it'll give you like the fundamentals. They're not going to teach you how to be a stylist, because the best way to be a stylist is to actually be out there and watch somebody do it. But with the teachings of a course and so on, they'll give you some of like the fundamentals of styling, which will help you.
Okay, thanks for your advice. It really means a lot.
Of course, not a problem.
I have a question as well. Like, as you mentioned, like staying happy helped you a lot, but like what other advice you would give to your younger self while you were starting out in fashion industry? Yeah.
Whew. What advice would I give to my younger self? Oh boy. What's your name? You put me on the spot.
Sorry.
You put me on the spot, but it's okay. I like these type of questions. What would I say to my younger self? Um, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Um, also save your money. Save your money. Save your money. Yeah, save your money. And I also feel like in my younger years, I wasn't really that focused. I didn't really, as much as I loved styling, I wasn't like, I was focused on it, but I feel like if I focused just a little bit harder, I probably would have got there or got to my destination faster. But I was so oblivious. Like I think I was trying to focus on too many things. And I wasn't, because the fashion career wasn't happening as fast as I wanted it to happen. I'm like, okay, well, I need to make money. So I need to go do this and I need to go do this and I have to do this and this and this and this and this. And it was just a blur after a while. So as I started to get older, I started to really narrow down exactly what it is that I'm supposed to do. I kind of tuned out all of the other voices and all of the other, well, you can't do this because you're not going to make enough money and so on. I still do that today where it's like, I'm in a job right now or a career right now where it's corporate. And as much as corporate has stability, it's also very scary because it's like, 1 minute I'm working, next minute I'm not. So it's like this, and I'm constantly scared. I'm like, oh my God, what if they call me tomorrow and then they fire me? And then what's gonna happen? So should I go find another job and so on? Like these are the things that are always going in my head, but I'm just like, just live in the moment. You're already in the job. It's fine. Just keep going. So that's what I would honestly tell my younger self and to all of you is just to focus on what it is that you want to do. And also experiment. You guys are still young too. So experiment with different careers and different jobs and so on. And then eventually like narrow it down to what it is that you want to do.
Yeah, to just clear the vision at all. Yeah.
Yes. Have the vision as clear as day. And don't worry, like there's so many jobs out there, like film and television, for instance. You work for 3 months, sometimes 6 months, and then you don't work. You have to find another gig. Like these jobs that are the most glamorous jobs, it's like you work for 3 months, then you don't work. You work for 6 months, and then you don't work, but you make great money. Or you can work in corporate where it's steady, but you may not have as much flexibility. I'm in a position, which is great, where I still have the flexibility with my career, working at Today's Shopping Choice, but I also can do film if I wanted to. And I also have City Line. Like in our careers, we have to have somewhat multiple things in order to survive, but it has to be clear. And you can't be like, oh yeah, I want to do hair here. Next minute, I want to do makeup. Then I want to do banking. Like it's like it's either one industry or the next.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for your advice. Yeah.
Not a problem.
Okay, now it's open. If any one of our guests have any other question or want to interact with our speaker today. If not, thank you so much for today. It was a pleasure having you here, like hearing all your experience, all your thoughts. Like I think that you inspired a lot of us today with your story. It's a really thrilling, inspiring story, and all have you like achieved. So thank you so much. And we have
somebody's hands up.
Yes, Shay.
Okay.
Yes, I wanted to, I didn't really have a question, but I just wanted to say thank you, because I feel like this really like opened my eyes more, and I definitely feel like heard to a different like level after that, because I don't know, I feel like I related to some of the things that you had experienced in your journey, and I just feel really thankful for being able to listen to you speak today. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm really inspired by whatever you say because you actually, story is like my little sister's story because she's a dyslexia. She did not know until later time in her age. She kept failing, having problems in education. Everybody talking to her. Meanwhile, she became so down. She don't want to open up with anybody. She's always on her phone, singing and crying all the time, you know. So I have to pick her up from where she is and try to look at what she can do. I found out that she likes taking care of babies, you know. I had to call my friend that own a school, please, if you can help her to be in child-minded class where she can be taking care of the children, where she will not write, she will not be challenged to write or anything. And she got in there, she did perfectly well, and from there, she found out that she's good in that, and she's now looking at how to develop herself in that. And I told her little by little, try using word, try testing. When I test you, test me back. Even when you make mistakes, don't worry, keep doing it. Test people. When people talk to you, happy birthday, say thank you, even if you don't know what to do. You know, with that, I found out as I speak to you that she can now type things on her own. She's a mother of two now. She's happy because she got married, and even in her marriage, her husband was like, I don't want this. I don't know you are like this. I don't think I'm going to keep you as a wife. Every day the husband complained here and there. I told the husband, look at that thing that she can do well. If you are very good in education, she is not good in education, watch what she can do. And because everybody comes with a different gift. I called her, my sister, you're going to learn how to do things. Learn how to make hair, learn how to make up, learn all these things. It can keep you busy. Because she's a dedicated person, whatever she tends to do, she want to do it, and she will do it well.
Amazing.
She's very good in language. You know, she learns language fast. Any language, wherever she finds herself, she picks fast. I told her these are gifts you can portray on. You don't need to be number one in writing. You can be a top class student, but you can still have something a first class student don't have. So people have to look at your strength, and that is what you're telling me now. You work on your strengths, and that's where you are today. You are the one talking to me that say that I know all, but you are the one teaching me. I'm so much happy. Thank you, because I have so much things to take home and talk to my sister more about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My name is Stephanie.
Nice to meet you, Stephanie.
A woman of color.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and I'm really glad that this opportunity, like this space, like open like the opportunity, like to us, like feel inspired, like know your stories. So thank you so much, and thank you for being so kind and like answer all our questions, hear all our stories. So thank you so much, Leo. So I don't know if anyone has any other question or wants to make any other comment before we go. So is an open space to anyone if you want to make any last question.
I would just like to say thank you for sharing your journey and creating a safe space for us to share and learn more about it. So it was great listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And best of luck to each and every one of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was
Thank
amazing.
you.
It was an amazing space. And
Thank you.
thank you so much for participating in our Threads 2022 event. Even it was virtually, we hope that is the last one that is run out virtually. So hope next year we can have this space in person. So thank you so much for all of us that participate this year. At 7 p.m. we're going to have our awards ceremony. So you're most welcome to join us at 7 p.m. again. So thank you so much for this space, and see you later.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.